We can take away from here some messages, a collective lobbying group, a collective force for affecting change. I think that is so critical to this. And also, I like the fact that people want to give us money. Well, what more can you ask? So that's great. And I think this is not just a group of people that we pulled off the streets. This is a diverse group throughout the country. And there are more out there. They are really passionate about it. 200 plus bids can't be wrong. So let's go on, let's start asking some questions. What I will ask, if you've got a question, please, if you can stand so we can all see, speak loudly. We can have your name and your business and ask your question. And then we'll get one of these guys to answer that for you. So, who's first? Please, yes, lady at the back.
Bobby Nichols, Friends of Abingdon. We are a charity, and what we would like to know is about the levy. Are there charity exemptions? Because obviously we don't have much of an income.
Yep. Well, I can actually answer that one. It is actually detailed in the business plan as well. There is a bottom line as such. So anybody with a rateable value of 3,000 below will not actually need to contribute. Any charity that is a charitable office, that in other words, it's not a shop front, will not have to contribute. Obviously, charities that are on the high street are actually bringing in some money. Guys, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to contribute. But you will benefit from that because the high street will be busier. You will actually get that money back hand over fist. It will happen. So hopefully that answers your question.
Could I just ask a brief supplementary? We have the Abbey buildings, which I presume would be classed as our charity offices. But we also run the community free space, which some of you may know as the community shop. Would that be classed as a charity operation? It does not involve any money at all coming in, only some going out.
Then it should be exempt. I actually don't have an exact answer to that. We'll get that back to you.
Right,
on that one.
thank you.
All right. Next, please.
I was interested with, sorry, is it Liz?
Yes.
Saying about the Chamber of Commerce and everyone joining together. Would you see this as working as one group, fighting for Abingdon, say, and benefiting Abingdon, rather than a Chamber of Commerce, an ABA, and a bid committee being three people doing three different things? Because there's going to be clashes with the Christmas extravaganza and other events.
Absolutely.
Or will it be seen as these groups will come together to become one?
Right, hopefully, we'll answer that in two parts. First of all, Liz, how do you handle that now? And then I'll give you an idea of how we think we can handle it as well.
Yeah, sure. In Lancaster, yes, we've got the City Council, the Chamber of Commerce and the bid. At the moment we're looking at, we have informal quarterly meetings with the City Council with all three of those groups, and we all sit down, we raise issues, we talk about what it is that we're having differences in. The Chamber of Commerce are completely discreet to us. Their patch far exceeds mine. So my sphere of influence is very, very tight. The Chamber of Commerce is much, much wider, and so is the City Council's. So it works quite well because we've all got slightly different views. We don't always agree. Sometimes the Chamber will bring something and the bid will be kind of like, well, we don't agree with that. But that doesn't mean that either view is invalid. It's an opportunity to air those views in an informal way. And it brings it to the attention of the City Council quite often. What was the second part of your the other thing I was going to say was collaboration. So when we, for instance, Christmas, I don't know the politics of your Christmas, but for Lancaster, previously our lights was organised by our two city centre shopping centres. They now take the budget that they used to put into turning the switching lights event, they put that into the bids pot. So the bid contributes, the city, the shopping centres contribute, and we all decide what it is that we're going to do with that event. So we've kind of, from that perspective, we're working together. So it works on, for us, it works on an event by event basis. At the moment for Christmas, I'm looking at, and for the first time ever, I'm communicating with all of the offers that are going on in Lancaster. So we're actually going to do a combined marketing programme. So rather than having Lancaster Castle promoting their event, Lancaster Brewery promoting their event, and Bid promoting theirs, we've actually said, look, tell us what your events are, we'll put it on a single document, and that's going to slash our marketing costs, and we can promote all of our events. But it also means that because I know what's going on around Lancaster, I'm not competing with their events. So I can specifically look at my calendar and say, well, there's no point in me putting on a Christmas market that weekend because the brewery are already doing it. So it's working a lot from that perspective.
Great.
So,
Thank you. Brilliant. And I think the thing from this is collaboration. You'll be pleased to know since the introduction of from following the feasibility of the bid plan and the team gelling together, we actually have members from ABBA, we have members from the Chamber and individual business owners on the group as well. We're already working together. What happens on day one when we start? Do you know what? We continue that collaboration because the Chamber and ABBA is bigger than that group. However, and what's to say in 3 years' time? We don't actually have one group supporting it. I don't think there's a problem with that. But you're the businesses. You decide. We decide what's best for Abingdon. We don't argue around the table. Yeah, do you believe that one? No. We do have challenging questions. We do make it work. And we'll put it to vote and make it the best. We all, that's what we're made of. Hopefully that's answered your question, Gary. Brilliant.
I'm Rose Sandways from Abingdon Sports. What can BID do for the empty shops in the precinct that have been empty for years? We've heard so many different things in the last years, all the different projects that have been set up. Nothing's actually helped get any more businesses into the precincts.
Right, I'm going to ask Russell to answer that one, purely because of what you just said on what's happened in Newbury. Can you just give us an insight into what you did?
Sure. I think the key thing is first of all, getting a dialogue with the landlords is the key thing.
Which has been done before.
Okay. I can only talk you through what we've done.
Yeah.
Getting a dialogue with the landlords, finding out what the issues are. Is it dilapidation? Is it occupation costs? Is it that there isn't the footfall support? I don't know what the reason will be here in Abingdon. For us with some of the empty units, they were very high occupational costs. Some of the units were in dilapidation. And quite often what you'll find, particularly with individual units, is in retail they're owned by some pension fund somewhere in the country, and if one's empty it doesn't really make that much difference, it's just a tick box. Once we start talking to them, actually, have you seen the state of this place, what's the issue with it, and get that dialogue going, then we can start getting the repairs made, then we can start going out to the market and saying, actually, this is how Newbury sits at the moment, we're bucking the national trends, it's a really good place, we've got all these recent businesses invested, and we start going out being proactive and saying, actually, what do we want in the town, what's going to complement what's already there? We do that on a regular basis. We've been trying for years now to get Primarks into Newbury. They won't, but somebody else has come instead. We've had the high street where we've had a company, I was talking to Paul earlier about Pret a Manger, and coffee shops, believe it or not, people think we're getting saturated with them, and they are, but coffee shops do their due diligence. They don't open up in a town, particularly the big ones, unless they see an advantage to it. Pret a Manger are probably the best in the world at doing their due diligence when it comes to things like that. They won't open in the town if they can't see an advantage. So we work on the back of that. So we've had one opened 18 months ago. We go out to other similar companies and say, look, credit here, they've done the homework, they see it as a viable option, what about it? But again, it's about matching the unit up to the business as well. It's a lot of hard work to do, but I think with time and patience, and if you can then start demonstrating that there's a bid, a lot of companies, it's part of their due diligence now, has it got a bid, it's a tick. Because they see it as a forward-thinking town that's trying to improve.
I think one of the things that we've sort of got to get out and fully understand and hear what you say, and we have had many chats throughout our meetings about how do we handle that empty shop syndrome problem, and it's a lot about what Russell has said. What we've got to face is the fact that we need to do something about it, and this gives us an opportunity to do that. And we know as well, again, this has not just happened in one bid area, it's happening in a lot. When the knowledge is out there that this town is in a bid area, you will see a change, because that due diligence, when you set up your business, you do the due diligence, and you see that there's actually an organisation that is interested in investing in the town, therefore it's a lesser of a risk. So hopefully we can G that up. We've also talked about going to the annual conferences, the annual shows where businesses go to sell themselves. We'll go as Abingdon and sell ourselves and say, oh guys, we've got 5 stores out there to fill. And the other important thing that we're going to do, we are not going to get the major names in town, because quite frankly we're not big enough. What we are though, we're full of independents. We've got a lot of independents out there. We're unique. So what we're going to create is a unique Abingdon, uniquely Abingdon on Thames, and that's the message we're going to put out there. Now, I've been to other towns and I've seen lots of independent shops. Henley is one of them. Thank you. And you will get some other people in there. Some will come, some will go. It's not easy. Yes, we've been there. Let's try and move this forward and make it happen. Okay?
I'm Ian. I've got the bookstore in the precinct in Abingdon. Unless I'm mistaken, I'm actually the only retailer here that actually has a business actually in the precinct. Unless Mark is here somewhere. Nick, I mean, sorry.
Nick's on holiday.
Okay. It's a slightly unique situation within the centre of Abingdon. I agree with the gentleman from Newbury, where a vibrant retail centre for a town affects the whole town and all of the businesses. But in Abingdon, we've got the majority of the retail premises all run by one landlord, which is Scottish Widow. I would doubt, I certainly haven't seen anybody, that there's anybody here from Scottish Widow tonight. I would assume that you've tried to get them here, and they're showing little interest at the moment.
Individually, you're absolutely right. We have had conversations with them though, and Michelle has actually spoken to them as well. But again, as a collective, we will actually have a powerful voice, and to encourage them to actually change that. We will help people to try and get the rent down, for example, because it is quite expensive in there. We will do lots of other things. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but we have to make a go at it, and we have to do something, otherwise it will remain like that, and that really is unacceptable.
The other thing, and I can't confirm this because it is still slightly rumour, that the main unit in the precinct is in legals.
It's illegal.
At the moment.
We know that.
The rumour going around is you probably would call it a destination store. It's a shuffling of the pack. So we've got a situation where we're going to run out of the options for the type of retailer that the town actually requires. A retailer that someone is going to drive to. So to get people back from Didcot, back from Whitney, back in from Oxford. And we have a landlord who gives myself as a tenant little enthusiasm to say they have enough knowledge about the town, they don't care about the town, which, again, I don't think anybody here, we've got 4 opticians in the precinct at the moment, and about 2 or 3 chemists. There isn't enough options, but it's all being governed by the one retailer you haven't got a dialogue with who doesn't care enough.
At the moment, but that is actually happening, and it's something we can actually build on. I really feel your pain, I understand. I've got no disillusions about that. I know it's not going to be easy, it's not going to happen overnight. But as a collective voice, and I may repeat this quite a lot, and I won't stop repeating it, we can actually affect change. We will do, because we've seen it before. And those people, actually, believe it or not, support bids. They are on the British Bid Board, so they are going to actually, they've got to, because it'd be double standards otherwise. So we know we've sort of got a name around the door. Until we're a bid area, do you know what? It's that single conversation. And that single conversation, is very difficult to have. You have to have the collective voice. So let's make that happen. Let's give it a go. Because if we don't, we'll have that conversation next week. We'll have it the week after. I'm sorry. And I think I've actually seen activity in the back of the store as well, so I think something is happening in that area. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Amanda from Marie Boutique. One thing that we still keep hearing a lot about, and I don't know if this is anything that the bid would have an influence over or be able to still do anything about, unless it's the traffic in Abingdon, and I think it's still something that puts off a tremendous amount of people. Is this an area that the bid would have any influence? Only because in the past I've been to many meetings with councils on various things, and nothing, a bit like the lady over there has said, because we've been in the town a very long time, and nothing has ever changed from anything that anybody has ever said, from any meeting with chambers of trade, commerce, any of these other things. So I'm just wondering how...
I think we all echo your sentiments.
Right.
Okay. I think we're all...
It's just a ridiculous...
You're absolutely right. But again, sorry for being boring. Individually, damn hard. Even as a small chamber group that I'm a member of as well, it's been difficult. but a louder voice, the main centre of the town, is going to stand up and say, we need to find solutions to this. Now, let's be sensible and simple to avoid any illusions. Every town, every city, everywhere has traffic problems. So, what we need to do is just to look at it and say, okay, let's sit down and how can we improve it? And then try and work that out in a sensible manner to make that effective. Car parking, for example, we know we've got car parking problems here, but we can actually work on that. The dwell time was being mentioned. When it comes to car park, it's free for a couple of hours, absolutely fantastic, but you know you're clock watching. You come in, you do your 2 hours, you go away. No, we're trying to put systems in place to say, maybe get a text message and say your car parking's about to expire, do you want to stay for another couple of hours? It's only going to cost you £1 or whatever. We're still going to have that conversation, press the button, thank you very much. Keep people in town. Maybe free after 3. What's the difference? You know, it happens. Let's keep people in town. So yes, we are aware of the problems. Hey, we wouldn't be having this conversation otherwise, because there's a need to do that and affect change. How have you guys handled your car park and drive-through issues?
We learnt this through our own mistakes. We went to the council initially and said, there's a problem with traffic, what are you going to do about it? And the council, what do you want us to do about it? And we went, I don't know. So councils love it when you go to them and say, there's an issue, what are you going to do about it? Because straight away they can retort with, well, what do you want us to do about it? The key with bids is that you get around the table first as a collective, because you know the town better. I can guarantee that not all of your councils live in Abingdon, do they? We have the same thing with our councils. Not many of them are from Newbury. A lot of them drive in to the councils. So the people that know the town better are the people that are in there every single day with their businesses. Getting those round tables and saying, actually, what would we like to see? Getting some ideas on the paper, then going to the council and saying, look, this is as a group of businesses what we think would work best for the town. You're automatically then knocking on a much more open door than you are by just saying, actually, we've got an issue here, what are you going to do about it, Mr. Councillor? Can you sort it out? It shows then there's a partnership building that you wanted to work with them. And I found in Newbury that's worked far better. Car parking, it's a very emotive issue, you know, is it too much, is it not enough, have we got enough, haven't we got enough, can we get to it? Short of building new car parks, you've got to work that out amongst yourself, what's going to work best? You know, Abingdon Council will take a revenue from car parks. That revenue doesn't just lie in their pockets, that's used to keep the car parks clean and safe, it's used to repair the roads, it's used for a whole bunch of things. So you can't just go to your council and say, we want the first 2 hours free. There's got to be a plan. And again, that's where you, as a group of businesses, need to get around the table and say, actually, what's going to work best for us? Is it the first hour free, or is it actually stay for the first hour, get the second hour free, or first 2 hours and get 4 hours free, building your dwell time? I don't know that answer, you know that best as the businesses in the town. Doing nothing isn't an option, I'm sure we'll all agree on that. What's the plan B? If you don't have a bid, what are you going to do?